All new at 5 o'clock, Dallas police say that they are very concerned about the city's murder numbers, homicides.
To say it was a shocking murder would be an understatement. Broad daylight, 7 shots, 1 person killed. We see murders all day. This one looked different.
A violent killing in North Oak Cliff involving an American Airlines manager.
Jennifer and her husband Jamie were walking their dog. 7:30 in the morning. At that time, someone approached from behind and simply started shooting. Jamie Faith was shot 7 times.
They sound one after another. Wham, bam, 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 bam.
You knew it was a gunshot.
Yeah, you can smell in the air.
The gunpowder.
The gunpowder all over.
We got a phone call from our mutual friend. He started the conversation with, Jamie's gone.
And I'm like, what do you mean Jamie's gone? And he's like, he's dead. What are you talking about? So I started right away digging in, trying to figure out, give me details, give me a scenario, what happened.
3 times to the head, 3 times to the chest, and once to the groin, and then turns to the wife, knocks her down, takes the time to pull out duct tape and wrap her wrists.
Jennifer says that duct tape is used to wrap around her hands, to actually grab her and take her rings. I went to that house Monday morning. I briefly spoke with Jennifer Faith. I asked her, can you tell me what happened? She said it was awful.
Here's a guy from small town Mugwanago, Wisconsin, 7:30 in the morning, residential area.
A theft?
Something's not right.
Somebody would have committed a murder to get a ring that may be worth $3,000, $2,000. Does that make sense?
Right. This isn't Kim Kardashian, downtown Paris, coming out of a hotel for a photo shoot with a $5 million watch.
A stranger, police believe, may have killed the American Airlines technology director on that Friday morning.
The one thing that entered our mind was because it was during the pandemic, we thought maybe it was a disgruntled employee that he had just laid off.
The first time I found out about this case, I heard it on the news, and as soon as I saw it, I thought, that's a hit.
A hit as in like a professional
A
hit.
professional hit, because it didn't make any sense. I've been practicing criminal law for almost 30 years, and none of it made sense.
Who would want him dead?
Nobody.
I hear the woman screaming for her life, hysterical. It sounds like a movie. So I hurry up and call the police saying, hurry and tell them I think my neighbors just got shot.
It was October 9th, 2020, and residents of Oak Cliff were still absorbing the shocking murder of Jamie Faith. Dallas police detectives began going house to house.
Detectives need any and all information that might be related to the case.
Jamie's own front door security camera captured this haunting photo as he left his house with Jennifer and their dog Maggie. It was taken seconds before Jamie was shot to death, as heard on this audio. Other cameras captured images of the killer's getaway truck leaving the scene. A black Nissan Titan pickup truck. And it had something unique on its back window. What was that?
Police initially told us about the T on the back window. Here in Dallas, if you see a T on the back window, it's for the baseball team, the Texas Rangers.
Steve Pickett, a reporter for CBS 11 in Dallas-Fort Worth, noted that the cameras did not pick up the truck's license plate. And so the effort begins to find this truck, right?
That's right, absolutely. Who is driving a black Nissan Titan with that T emblem on the back window?
For those who knew Jamie Faith, the big question was not only who had committed the murder, but why. Jamie, by all accounts, was a fun-loving guy.
Jamie was the sweetest person. And I said, something's not right. Something wasn't right.
Shimona Jackson and her wife, Melissa Gonzalez, who lost her hair due to cancer treatments, lived next door to Jamie and Jennifer for years, but moved when the pandemic hit. They needed more space for their 7 adopted children.
The first time I met them, we all introduced ourselves, and they were like, do I have kids? And I was like, yeah, we have a lot of kids.
Is it true that the Faith House was a really fun place for your kids to go?
Yes.
Jennifer Faith instantly bonded with Shimona, Melissa, and their adopted children, at least in part because she was also adopted. The Faiths welcomed them like family, inviting them to swim anytime they liked in the Faith's backyard pool.
Oh, they love to go swimming. Sometimes they'd spend the night over. She would just leave us the code and we'd come in through the back gate and swim.
Give me a sense of what Jennifer Faith was like.
She was actually pretty fun. I've never seen her get mad.
Would you describe them as a loving couple?
Yes.
On the morning of the murder, a cousin of Melissa's called her with the dreadful news. They rushed to the Faith home. Jamie's lifeless body was still on the street.
Right away, I noticed a gunshot to the head. But he was laying there just in the street, no covering, no nothing.
It was heartbreaking because you hear somebody tell you that someone's passed, but to see him there lifeless after we had just seen them, and it was hard to believe.
Two states away, in Arizona, Teresa and Ross Jensen, who had known Jamie for years, were floored by the news.
And the two of us just stared at each other for a little while.
In
Like,
shock.
what?
Teresa Jensen and Jamie Faith hail from the village of Mukwonago, Wisconsin, and were classmates through high school and college. He later introduced Teresa to her husband Ross, a close college friend.
16 years later,
Yep.
there we sit.
Jamie literally changed our
We never
lives.
would have met. Yep.
Jamie may have been a successful matchmaker, but he insisted that serious relationships were not for him.
He considered himself a confirmed bachelor. For as long as we knew him, he said, I'm never getting married.
Never getting married.
Never having kids. I don't want a part of it.
But that changed in 2005.
And then he met Jennifer.
The attraction was instant.
In terms of the commitment in the relationship, and
That was there.
that was there right off the bat. They were 2 peas in a pod.
And that notion about not wanting children, Jamie bonded with Jennifer's then 8-year-old daughter, Amber, from her first marriage.
And I remember thinking to myself, it's interesting for a guy that didn't want kids, how he stepped right in there and he would go to the dance recitals and super supportive.
The two got married in Las Vegas in 2012, and when Amber turned 18, Jamie legally adopted her. He was working for American Airlines in Arizona, and Jennifer worked in healthcare administration.
I believe all of our friends and mutual friends were very accepting of her.
Jamie, Jennifer, and Amber continued living in Arizona until 2017, when Jamie got a promotion and they moved to Dallas.
He seemed very happy, yep. So did she. They got along great, and I mean, that's all you want for your friends, you know, be happy.
But the good times ended in gunfire that October morning. It was the day after the couple celebrated the 15th anniversary of their first date. In later news reports, Jennifer said she was having a hard time coping with Jamie's murder.
I'm not supposed to be widowed at 48, you know.
Jennifer told cops that the shooter was wearing a blue mask, and a blurry image was captured by that security camera near the back of the Faith house. But the best lead was that black Nissan truck with the distinctive white T on the back window.
I have 3 dogs that I walk 3-4 times a day. What seemed like was a completely random act, it could have been any of us.
Jennifer Phelan and Jenna Wilson live in the same Oak Cliff neighborhood where Jamie Faith was gunned down, a man they could relate to.
Learned that he was in IT at a major airline. My husband is in IT at a major airline. They were walking their dog a few blocks from us. I was just oh my gosh, this could have been us.
Though many neighbors didn't know the Faiths personally, they immediately stepped up to support Jennifer and her daughter Amber.
We have a really amazing community in Oak Cliff.
The day after the murder, Jenna reached out to Jennifer and began coordinating a meal train to provide vegan meals as Jennifer requested.
How many different families were contributing food, would you estimate?
Goodness, gotta be over 50.
Oh, definitely.
If you know what happened, I need that for closure.
As Jennifer Faith appealed to the public for information, money was pouring into a GoFundMe account set up by Jennifer Phelan.
It came in fast. It was shocking to see how much people were contributing.
How much money was raised for the GoFundMe?
Over $60,000.
Father, we thank you for the gift of this amazing man.
Jennifer held 2 funerals for Jamie, one in Dallas and one in Phoenix. Each was meticulously planned.
They had all the displays out, little matchbooks for people to take, cards for people to take, coasters, more than anything I've ever seen at any other funeral.
While she was mourning, Jennifer kept pressing the public for more information about the murder of her husband.
Truck is absolutely critical. Somebody has got to know whose truck this is. It's a black Nissan Titan extended cab. It had a Texas Ranger sticker in the back window.
As they do with every homicide investigation, detectives looked into Jennifer's background. They asked for her cell phone and found that in April 2020, 6 months before the October shooting, Jennifer had texted a friend to say she had gotten back in touch with an ex-boyfriend named Darren.
Law enforcement goes through the phone and they look in her phone book and they find the name Darren Lopez.
Jim Holland is a retired Texas Ranger and a CBS News consultant.
They're going through and they're finding out every single thing they can about both these people, really discovering them.
Darren Lopez and Jennifer had dated in high school and reconnected in early 2020. Lopez had a family of his own and was a Special Forces Army veteran who earned a Purple Heart and suffered a brain injury from a roadside bomb in Iraq that killed 19 soldiers in his unit.
He is a military veteran going through a divorce himself, living in an isolated part of Tennessee, raising his daughters.
Authorities learned Lopez owned this 20-acre property in Cumberland Furnace, Tennessee. And there was something else.
Darren Lopez owns a Nissan Titan pickup that just so happens to be black in color.
A Nissan Titan, the same make and model as the gunman's getaway truck in Jamie Faith's murder. Texas authorities reached out to law enforcement in Tennessee.
And they actually conducted aerial surveillance of Darren's house.
Christy Jack is a prominent Texas defense attorney we asked to review this case.
And lo and behold, there's this truck with the T on the back window.
The white T.
The white T.
All this time we thought Texas Indeed, it was for the University of Tennessee.
But authorities didn't arrest Lopez after finding his truck. They continued to investigate and build their case, digging into his phone records.
What they find is this enormous amount of communication between Jennifer Faith and Darren Lopez. Sometimes they're communicating more than 500 times a day.
But starting the afternoon of October 8th, the day before Jamie was killed, Darren and Jennifer stopped talking for approximately 28 hours. That same day, Lopez told his daughters he was going out of town on a hunting trip for a few days. According to debit card records, he filled up at a gas station near his home, set his GPS for the Faith's house, and headed west for the 10-hour drive to Dallas.
He doesn't realize it, but he's bringing law enforcement along with the ride with all the evidence he's leaving behind.
He's leaving this trail, and in some points it's, giant markers and signs, and in others it's little breadcrumbs.
They can actually document where Darren Lopez was. They've seen security video of him at a convenience store, a gas station.
Surveillance photos from an Arkansas gas station show Lopez wearing a blue mask, the same color mask Jennifer Faith told police the killer wore. At 2:19 a.m. the next morning, GPS data shows he arrived at the Faith home. A security camera captured those grainy images of him at the vacant house next door.
It would make you wonder a lot of different things, the level of patience that someone has to, be able to stage 5 hours early and sit there and wait for this murder to transpire.
At 7:30 a.m., when the Faiths came out to walk their dog Maggie, cops say he ambushed them, killing Jamie. Investigators say he then drove 650 miles back home to Tennessee.
Law enforcement has to figure out, why did he do it? Did he do it because of his own motives, because of his love for Jennifer Faith, or did someone else ask him to do it?
In January 2021, 3 months after Jamie Faith was murdered, Dallas detectives had discovered evidence, including thousands of texts, that suggested Jennifer and Darren Lopez had a profound connection, bordering on obsession, despite not having seen each other for decades.
You have Jennifer, who's happily married to Jamie, and she's carrying out this tremendous amount of communication with her former boyfriend.
There's no bigger motive for murder than love or wanting to be with someone else.
And the texts weren't the only evidence against Lopez. Detectives also had that cell phone data placing him near the crime scene and GPS coordinates that showed his exact route.
They could track him from Tennessee to Dallas and back to Tennessee.
To the authorities, it all added up to a murder charge.
Now new this morning, an arrest made 3 months after an American Airlines employee was gunned down while walking his dog in Dallas. Police say Darren Lopez...
Sergeant Joseph Calhoun was there when police pulled Lopez over on January 11th, 2021 in Dixon, Tennessee, not far from his home.
He appeared to be nervous, but at the same time he was very quiet.
Inside the vehicle, agents say they found a face mask, the same color as the one Jennifer had told police the gunman wore.
She says that the man had black eyes and was wearing a blue mask.
As Sergeant Calhoun transported Lopez to the local jail, the investigative team headed for his house. There, authorities say, they found this .45 caliber handgun.
We know that Jamie was shot with a .45 caliber handgun round.
Authorities say ballistics tests later matched the gun found in Lopez's house to shell casings found at the murder scene. Even more damning, authorities say that traces of Jamie's blood were found on the gun.
Why the heck wouldn't he throw that gun away?
You know, I don't know if it wasn't some kind of memento, some kind of symbol of his love for her or what he was willing to do to have her.
And on the day that he is arrested, what is he charged with?
What he's charged with is a gun crime, a federal gun crime, and at the state level, he's charged with murder.
He pleaded not guilty to both charges and was transferred to the Dallas County Jail, where he was held on $1 million bail. At this point, police had become increasingly suspicious of Jennifer. Was she involved in the murder plot or covering up for Lopez after the fact? On the day of Lopez's arrest, Dallas detectives brought her in for more questioning.
Is that just a coincidence?
No, law enforcement would have timed that exactly. I mean, everything is coordinated to ensure that Jennifer doesn't know that Darren's been arrested.
Detectives say Jennifer denied ever having a sexual relationship with Darren Lopez, but admitted the two communicated every day. And the volume was astounding. In the 6 months leading up to Darren Lopez's arrest, cops say the two texted each other 116,000 times.
When did they have time to sleep? When did they have time to eat? It was constant. They made sure that they communicated with each other all day long.
Homeland Security agents dug into Lopez's phone and recovered text messages where Jennifer and Lopez even discussed deleting texts.
Where they're talking to one another about factory resetting their phone.
After Lopez texted Jennifer that he had deleted texts, she wrote, "Big smile over here at that." Lopez's phone contained a lot of sexting between the two and many words of love. Darren wrote, "I love you with all of my heart." And Jennifer responded, "Sleep, my angel, holding you tight."
I mean, it goes so far that they're both telling each other good night and talking about, eating chips and salsa.
But Jennifer Faith was not arrested. From the start, she had played the grieving widow. Remember that TV interview where Jennifer pleaded for help in finding the getaway truck?
Truck is absolutely critical. Somebody has got to know whose truck this is because
Investigators now knew that Jennifer later woke up panicked, that the T was still on Lopez's truck. She wrote, "Something is eating away at me, telling me you need to take the sticker out of the back window of the truck."
At some point, he responds to that text message. It says, "Sticker done."
Meaning it's been removed.
He's taken it off.
Jennifer was euphoric. "Oh, yay," she texted. And then hours later, "I feel so much better."
It looks like conspiracy. It looks like a connection between those two individuals who are working together to ensure they cover their tracks.
My gut was screaming at me. I said, hey, things aren't adding up.
If you're going to kill someone, you're going to kill the witness.
We wondered why Jennifer hadn't gotten shot. We asked her, "Why didn't he shoot you?" And she said, "I think he didn't have any more bullets."
Investigators also learned what Jennifer had been saying to Lopez in December 2020 after she failed to collect Jamie's $629,000 life insurance policy. Jennifer texted Lopez, "They aren't processing the claim yet because Detective Walton told them I couldn't be ruled out as a suspect. So I called him and basically said, 'What the F?'"
She had the audacity, the boldness to contact the police and be righteously indignant as to why she didn't know what was going on with the investigation and why she had not already been cleared as a suspect.
Jennifer was nothing if not bold. After Jamie died, she began showering Lopez, who was in financial distress, with cash and gifts. She got some of that money from the GoFundMe account set up to help her deal with Jamie's loss.
She drained that money within 2 months of people donating that sum.
Records show that Jennifer paid Lopez cash through a Venmo account, bought airline tickets for him and his daughters, and allowed Lopez to use her credit cards. In an email she wrote, "Please don't hesitate to use them for whatever you need."
This email is Jennifer directly to Darren. Here's both of my major credit cards. Amex has no limit, and I think the Visa has like $35,000 limit. I pay them both off every month, so you never need to worry about them being declined. There's no limit here to do what she wants him to do.
Jennifer seemingly was doing anything she could to keep Lopez in her corner, even after he was arrested.
She sent a message to him, and she sent through a third party, and she was telling him that she would always love him, that she would always be there for him, no matter what happened.
But was it love or loyalty Jennifer was after?
She wants to make sure that he does not talk.
Go inside the case at 48hours.com.
In early 2021, Darren Lopez was behind bars in the Dallas County Jail, and authorities felt they had a solid murder case against him. But Jennifer Faith remained free, not charged with any crime.
After Darren Lopez is arrested, does he turn on Jennifer?
No, in no way, shape, or form.
He's being the good soldier.
Right, yeah, he's the knight. He has a sense of duty and this honor towards her.
Prosecutors went ahead and built their case against Jennifer without Lopez's cooperation. And on February 24th, 2021,
48-year-old Jennifer Faith is now facing obstruction of justice charges related to the murder investigation of her husband.
Jennifer Faith was arrested, but she was not charged with homicide. She was charged with obstruction of justice. An in-house camera shows her being booked at the Dallas County Jail.
The obstruction of justice means if you're tampering with or you're destroying evidence to prevent its availability in a later trial, or to prevent it being available at all, which is what she was doing in destroying or deleting text messages on her phone.
Or asking Lopez to take that T sticker off his truck's window. The obstruction charge wasn't enough for Jamie's friend, Ross Jensen.
And I said, that wasn't the charge that I was expecting. And they said, well, that's it. That's what the charge is.
Jennifer later pleaded not guilty.
I think the police were being very thorough in their investigation, and they wanted to bring her into custody. Then she doesn't have another opportunity to destroy any further evidence.
And authorities may have been glad they did. In Jennifer's house, they found computers containing a cache of emails that took the investigation in a whole different direction.
You know, the emails get absolutely bizarre.
The strangest and most disturbing emails came from an account in Jamie Faith's name.
And on the surface, it appeared as though Jamie sent these messages.
Most of the emails are too explicit to show on television, and they contain explosive claims that Jamie was physically and sexually abusing Jennifer. And there was more. The emails were addressed to Darren Lopez, revealing an apparent connection between the two men in Jennifer's life.
It's Jamie Faith sending messages to Darren that he is going to harm his wife, he's going to sexually abuse his wife, and he wants Darren Lopez to see it.
He writes, I am finally going to get what I want from her this weekend.
He was wanting Darren to believe that he was going to sexually assault her in all sorts of ways.
The highly charged emails seemed designed to taunt Lopez, to challenge him to action.
Enjoy knowing you can't do an effing thing about it.
He was
provoking him.
He was provoking him. He was goading him.
As investigators looked more closely at the emails, they discovered that some were coming from a second email address in the name of one of Jennifer's male friends. That friend's emails corroborated the claims of abuse. Some even had photos attached supposedly depicting what Jamie had done to Jennifer.
Pictures that showed injuries.
Pictures that showed injuries.
And claiming this is my body.
Right.
This is what he's doing to me.
Right.
And there were messages from the friend asking Lopez for help in getting Jennifer away from Jamie. Jim Holland, now a retired Texas Ranger, says the emails clearly made Lopez fear for Jennifer's safety. Lopez wrote to the friend's account, "I know I won't feel better about her situation until she is away from him, or she lets me put a bullet in Jamie's head. I keep offering, and she keeps telling me no." Laugh out loud.
It's really pushing Daring into this protective mode where he has to help her, he has to be the hero, he has to save her.
Holland says one of Jamie's wounds suggests the emails had their desired effect on Darren Lopez, that gunshot to the groin.
I would guess that there's some type of sexual background or connotation to the murder based on the shot to the groin.
You know, we sometimes use the phrase that, you couldn't sell this if you were a screenwriter in Hollywood. It's like a psychological thriller. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, this is stuff that I don't think anyone could really make up. There's so many layers to the onion. Fact is is better than fiction at times. In this case, for sure.
Prosecutors weighed the emails, along with all the other evidence they were collecting against Jennifer, including her payments and gifts to Lopez, and in September 2021, 7 months after she was charged with obstruction, Jennifer was charged a second time.
Jennifer Faith is now charged with murder for hire, a federal offense.
A Dallas woman accused of orchestrating her husband's murder could face the death penalty.
I said, that's the right charge. That's what I was waiting for.
In their indictment, prosecutors laid out the murder for hire case against Jennifer, revealing details of the vile emails sent to Darren Lopez and a shocking secret about who sent them.
It was not Jamie at all that was sending these messages.
Someone else was?
Someone else.
Posing as Jamie?
Pretending to be Jamie. It was Jennifer all along.
When Jennifer Faith was finally charged with murder for hire, prosecutors delivered that bombshell. Jennifer was the one who wrote all those horrible emails to Darren Lopez.
There is no question that Jennifer Faith was the puppet master, and Darren Lopez was her puppet.
Pulling the strings and orchestrating her husband Jamie's murder.
It is mind-boggling, the wherewithal you have to help cultivate fake people, fake emails, pretending to be your husband to try to manipulate Darren Lopez. I haven't seen anything like that in a very, very long time.
Just my mouth on the ground. Couldn't believe what she had done.
The mystery is why. What drove Jennifer to want Jamie dead? She seemingly had it all: a husband and daughter who loved her, financial security, and a happy home.
I think the grass is always greener, and there were a million reasons why on top of it. If you combine his life insurance and his 401k, that's more than $1 million. And she wanted more. People always want more. They always want more than what they have. They always think having more, having it different, having a different person, having someone exciting is going to be better than what they have.
And 48 Hours found that, incredibly, it wasn't the first time Jennifer went down this path.
She did the exact same thing to me.
We tracked down this man, Rick Erlob, who was married to her in the early 2000s.
She's just the most evil person I've ever come in contact with.
He says shortly after they began dating, they took a trip to Disneyland, the so-called happiest place on earth, where Jennifer spun an ugly story of how she'd been abused by her first husband.
Physical, mental, emotional, sexual, it was shocking. It definitely came to a point where I wanted to kill him. And that lasted for a long time.
But then he says Jennifer changed her mind.
It was like, oh, you can't do this to my daughter's dad.
There is no evidence of any abuse. Rick says Jennifer wouldn't go to the police. We reached out to her first husband, but got no response.
What is it about Jennifer Faith that was so irresistible to men, do you think?
Well, there's something about her personality that really drew men in. She had a way about her of portraying herself as a victim of something.
And Rick admits he fell for it.
Was he just the dry run?
Yeah, I think so. I think ultimately where her failure was in Rick is this wasn't a guy who's capable of killing someone. Now, is Darren a person that you would look at and think he's capable of killing someone? A U.S. Special Forces operative for more than 20 years in the military who's been in combat. Yeah, this is a guy you know is going to get the mission done.
Shortly after the murder for hire charge, Holland says self-preservation kicked in, and Jennifer finally revealed the details of her intricate, manipulative plot to have her husband killed.
Jennifer Faith decides to accept a plea agreement. She will cooperate with authorities.
On February 7th, 2022, with attorney Toby Shook by her side, Jennifer appeared in a Dallas courtroom and pleaded guilty to one count of use of interstate commerce in the commission of murder for hire. In exchange for the guilty plea, prosecutors agreed to take the death penalty off the table and recommend a life sentence. Jim Holland says even the guilty plea was vintage Jennifer.
She can't allow herself to face the death penalty because she's incapable of killing herself. Because at the end of the day, that's the only person she really loves.
There was one important detail that authorities insisted be part of that plea.
She has to admit to the fact that her husband never abused her physically or sexually.
And as for those photos she'd sent showing injuries,
she sent images that we know are stock images, fake images, they're not real.
Jennifer also came clean about how she'd spent the GoFundMe money. Her supporters were devastated.
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
Do you feel that you were taken advantage of?
It's hard not to feel that way.
Do you feel betrayed?
It's hard not to feel that way.
What kind of person would do that?
A monster?
Yeah, a monster.
She may have used the GoFundMe account to pay Darren Lopez, but court records show that Jennifer did not pay for Jamie's funeral expenses, and to this day owes $6,500. What's more, court records also show Jennifer has asked that $200,000 from Jamie's estate be put into her prison commissary account.
It's a case of greed, manipulation. It's a tragedy all the way around. She robbed the community of someone that they respected. She robbed her daughter of a father. It was a very selfish act on so many levels.
Jamie's parents and sister did not attend the hearing. The family home was sold, and Amber moved out of Texas with their dog Maggie. After Jennifer signed her plea deal, Lopez also agreed to answer questions and admitted killing Jamie. He told investigators he reconnected with Jennifer because he was in a very dark place and initially never intended to reunite romantically or break up her family.
It's difficult to say which came first, whether it's the chicken or the egg, whether their romance was rekindled at the same time as her realization that he's the perfect pawn.
Now, when you say romance, it's very unusual romance, one in which apparently they physically were never together.
They were never physically together at that time, but memories are powerful.
Lopez, who hasn't changed his not guilty plea, also told authorities the murder was Jennifer's idea. His attorney has said publicly that Jennifer took advantage of Lopez, who suffered that traumatic brain injury in the Army.
I almost feel that Jennifer is more responsible for Jamie's death than Darren, because Darren was, in my opinion, was just preyed upon by her. and she manipulated him to do what she wanted done.
Those who knew and loved Jamie, like former neighbor Melissa Gonzalez, are still coping with his death.
He cared about people. It didn't matter what your race, religion, he didn't care about any of that. He was just an easygoing guy. He was the guy for our kids. That meant a lot. The kind of guy that he was, you can't just get that anywhere.
Friends Teresa and Ross Jensen are grieving too.
He was just all-around wonderful guy. I was blessed to know him.
I hope that Amber carries some of Jamie forward. I hope she really does something unique and special with his memory.
Who do you think is more responsible for Jamie Faith's death?
An intruder came into her house and attacked her, stabbing her repeatedly.
A woman's iron will.
There's no earthly reason why I'm alive. None.
And the thin line between life and death.
The amount of strength that goes into that is just unimaginable.
48 Hours, next on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Ever think in your wildest dreams that someone might want to kill you?
I would have never thought that anyone would want to kill me ever in my life, ever.
My dad's a sweet guy. I mean, he's very calm. He's full of laughter. He's full of energy. He's like a life of the party.
My life was once beautiful, wonderful. I have 3 wonderful kids. I was married to a beautiful lady.
Hi, guys. My name is Lulu Sosa.
My business was booming.
And I'm Ramon Sosa, head coach, boxing. Welcome to Women's Boxing and Fitness.
Outside the ring, boxers, they're very loving. They want love from their fans, and they want to give it back. They're the nicest people.
I was a very, very low-key kind of guy. That's the farthest thing from my mind, that somebody wanted me dead.
I remember walking in one night as the gym was in its final hours before it closed. I remember a conversation was taking place about hitmen.
What was it about this conversation that caught your attention?
What caught my attention was whose name came up.
Did they mention Ramon?
Yes. Now my focus was just on talking to Ramon.
I said, Mundo, you're joking around, you know, what's going on?
Ramon was like, don't play with me like that. This is some serious stuff.
And then he said, I seen that look on people's eye before they want to kill somebody.
It's like a screenplay, something straight out of Hollywood. And it would fit right in with every other horror flick that we've seen in the past.
Except this is real.
It is real.
We're taking you inside the twists and turns of a complex sting operation. And here's what makes it unique. The target of the murder-for-hire plot becomes an undercover operative to catch the person who wants him dead. So, Lieutenant, where are we heading?
We are heading to what we refer to as the dig site.
This is the actual grave where I was supposed to be dead. And they had me lay down with my hands behind my back, my head turned. It was a photographer. All I could hear was just the clicking of the camera.
That was somebody's choice. They told someone, this is what I want, this is how I want you to do it, and this is where I want you to put him. It's horrifying.
I saw myself in the grave, dead. Literally, I was supposed to be dead. I'm the only person alive that has ever walked out of his own grave.
To this day, Ramon Sosa finds it surreal that he was the target in a murder-for-hire plot.
I would have never believed it. I would have thought it was just something that is you only see in movies or on TV. I would have never thought that it would be happening to me.
He appeared to have the perfect life. From rubbing shoulders with celebrities like Hugh Hefner to owning a successful boxing gym in Houston. And he had found the love of his life, Lulu.
Life was very sweet.
Beth Blair is a friend of the Sosas.
I saw two fun, outgoing, loved to party, loved to get together with people and have barbecues, and the more people, the merrier.
Ramon's zest for life started early. He was born with a fighting spirit. Originally from Carolina, Puerto Rico, Ramon grew up boxing with his father.
I fell in love with the sport of boxing. I saw how the training, and there was a few world champions that trained there, and I just loved it from the time I was little.
After training for more than 10 years, Ramon took a shot at the pro boxing circuit.
They used to call me the Puerto Rican Express. When I turned 17, I turned pro.
So did you ever knock anybody out in the ring?
Oh yeah, there was a lot of knockouts.
Eventually, the Puerto Rican Express ran out of steam. Ramon hung up his boxing gloves and decided to pursue the American dream.
I went back to school, got my education, and started, and I still kept training. You know, always wanted to be involved with boxing in some kind of way.
Ramon got married young and had 3 children with his first wife. He eventually settled down in Houston, Texas, where he opened a boxing gym of his own where he could continue to teach his passion.
I think Ramon is a nice, humble guy, friendly, family-oriented.
Raul Marquez is an Olympic boxer and Showtime commentator. He is also Ramon's longtime sparring buddy.
Anybody that goes in the ring, it's got to be tough. It's got to be mentally tough. You know, I think he's physically and mentally tough, but like I always say, he wasn't tough enough to beat me, you know, beat my butt, you know?
Ramon's first marriage ended in 2000. By 2007, Ramon, then 40, was ready to get back in the ring. But this time, he was looking for a different kind of knockout.
And a friend of mine said, hey man, there's a place out there where they play live music, and I heard there's a lot of beautiful ladies out there, Latina ladies.
Ramon decided to go and see this place for himself. And as soon as he arrived, someone special caught his eye.
The place was packed. And I noticed her.
Are you thinking, man, I'm fighting out of my weight class here?
Yeah, yeah. She was very, very attractive. You know, she looked very nice. And she danced very, very well. So I just kept my eye on her.
The woman he noticed was Lulu Durantes.
Next thing I know, she walks by me and she steps on my toe.
Now, do you think she might have stepped on your foot on purpose?
Oh, she sure did. She even admitted later on.
Ramon and Lulu had an instant connection.
And that was it. I mean, as soon as we started dancing, we didn't get off the dance floor for the whole night.
Ramon still remembers the very first song they danced to, a popular Latin tune that the salsa band played that night. It would become their song.
Que tú me tienes temblando de noche y de día. Tú me hiciste brujería.
Brujería is a song by El Gran Combo de Puerto Rico.
And it means what?
Witchcraft.
Witchcraft. And forgive the pun, but you were under her spell, right?
Basically, yes, I was under her spell.
Spellbound, after dancing the night away, Ramon went home with Lulu, and the rest was history.
She doted on him. She was great.
Beth had a ringside seat to their relationship.
She'd bring him coffee and get up every morning with him and make his breakfast. And I just thought it was really neat, their relationship. You know, they got along really well.
After less than a year of dating, Ramon dropped to one knee.
I proposed to her, it was around Christmas time. I remember proposing to her, she started crying. She cried and cried and cried, you know. And she was happy, you know, but she couldn't wait to get married.
Lulu Durantes became Lulu Sosa on March 15th, 2009.
She treated me well, she treated me like a king.
Lulu, originally from Mexico, came to the United States with her son and daughter.
What brought her to Houston?
You know, to have a new life, a better life for her children, to, you know, to start again, because she was divorced in Mexico and then she come here.
Natalia Flores is a hairstylist and one of Lulu's closest friends. She met Lulu back in 2007.
She was a nice friend, a good mom, a good worker, a hard worker.
In 2010, Ramon opened a second gym. This time, Lulu was by his side. She kept the books and became a personal trainer.
We offer boxing, kickboxing, and fitness training.
Come check us out.
How big an operation was it?
The gym was about 5,000 square feet, and we averaged about 200 some members a month. Everything was great.
Little did Ramon know he would soon be in the fight of his life.
What was it like growing up Sosa?
Oh my gosh, it was like being a superstar almost. Because everyone knows my dad. Everyone knows who my dad is.
For Ramon's daughter Mia, a former model and beauty pageant contestant, and her two brothers, growing up around a local boxing celebrity had its perks.
It was just fun. Our dad was a jokester, so every time we were around, it was tons of laughs and smiles and all things like that.
Lots of blended families experience growing pains. But Mia says life after Lulu arrived
Hi, my name is Ramon Sosa.
I am Lulu Sosa.
was not as harmonious as those gym ads made it seem.
She didn't want anything to do with us. We were like nothing to her.
Mia found Lulu's coldness not just mean, but ominous.
It wasn't like she was trying to become a stepmom. She knew that at some point we weren't really gonna be in her picture.
What's more, the spell Lulu seemed to cast over Ramon started to eat away at his relationship with his own children.
She didn't like him spending money on his kids and seeing them.
We're not hanging out as much. And I know we're not doing it because he's got someone else that he's paying his attention to. And it's like, why? I'm your daughter. Where are you going?
Ramon says there was so much animosity between Lulu and his children, they weren't there for a major event in his life.
My kids didn't go to my wedding. That's one thing that's hurt me.
That day that we found out that he had got married, it was heartbreaking. Heartbreaking.
Ramon and his new bride focused on growing their gym into a powerhouse.
For world-class training and fitness.
How much money were you guys making a month or a year?
There was probably about over $18,000, $20,000 a month.
$18,000, $20,000 a month in profit?
Yeah.
But after 6 years of marriage, the Sosa spell began to break. Lulu started confiding in her friends.
She told me that he doesn't want to work too much and he stay more at home and she's working hard and hard and hard.
And accusations of Ramon's laziness were just the beginning.
And she said on an occasion or two that he was physical with her, or that he had come in drinking and was physical with her.
What did she mean by physical?
Like grabbing her or pushing her.
Because he's a strong guy, he came and forced to do things that she doesn't want in that moment.
Like sex?
Uh-huh.
Did she ever tell you that Ramon would force himself upon her and force her to have sex with him when she did not want to?
Yes, she did. She had said that on occasion.
Lulu claims that you have raped her.
Yeah, she's tried everything to ruin my life. From rape, being abusive, to being a drunk, and all these claims, not one of them, not one, have I been charged for. And I tell you, sir, that these hands have never hit a woman in their lives. These have always been for fighting in the ring, not even in the streets, not even in the streets. For her to say something like that, that was really hurtful.
Around the same time that Lulu was complaining to her girlfriends, Ramon says another problem suspiciously appeared: missing money.
After we started having problems at home with the marriage, there was issues with the gym. I'm working people out a lot more, and I see new faces all the time. But when I see the bottom line here, it's not adding up.
Are you worried that she's skimming money?
I was worried, and I was wondering what she was doing with the money.
Ramon soon learned where some of that money may have gone. In March 2015, Lulu hired divorce attorney Julio Joglar.
Lulu was in fear for her safety.
Joglar says he was shocked by what Lulu brought with her to his office.
She was able to take pictures of scratches that he left on her arms, legs, shoulders.
He shared the photos with 48 Hours.
According to Lulu, this was caused by Ramon at one time when he wanted to force himself to her. And there was an altercation, and Ramon grabbed her and
Can I see it?
scratched her. Yeah. That is evidence that he was using force to push her legs out.
There's scratches on her upper arm, and she claims there's a bruise on her leg that you inflicted on her.
Those are all fabricated. I can tell you those are all fabricated.
This is...
But there was one photo that even Ramon says was not made up.
As you can see in this picture, Ramon punched that door, and that can give you an idea of the strength of this man.
That I admit to that punch. She was accusing me of stuff, and that's one thing I did. I took my frustrations out. But as far as putting a hand on her, never, ever.
Despite allegations of physical abuse, Ramon and Lulu remained in the same house, even after she filed for divorce. They lived on different floors.
And was Lulu afraid of Ramon, afraid that he may seriously hurt her?
Yes, she was afraid of that.
And it was at that time, in June 2015, that this man, who asked we not show his face, was working out at the gym. He said to call him Mundo.
Ramon Sosa, he's a friend. He's a very good mentor to me.
Mundo had grown up on the tough streets of East Houston.
And he had a very, very rough background. Gangs and drugs and fighting in the streets. And he wanted a new life, and he became like a son to me.
Mundo says he was friends with Lulu as well. She was there, talking to her 16-year-old daughter when he overheard them.
A conversation was taking place about a customer that was there that supposedly was claiming to be a big shot, that he had connections of hitmen or just people that could inflict harm. What caught my attention was towards the end of the conversation, whose name came up.
Did they mention Ramon?
Yes.
Stunned, Mundo said nothing. He came back here the next day and confronted Lulu, who told him that Ramon was physically abusing her. Then she said something else.
She was like, I'm tired. You know, I'm tired of him. It's already too much. You know, I wish he'll disappear. I wish something, you know. And I'm like, disappear? What do you mean disappear? Like what? Disappear. And I did the pistol sign.
Mundo was certain that Lulu had murder on her mind and that his friend Ramon was in danger.
And what was it about the way she was talking to you that made you think this was something more than just idle words?
Her eyes. Just her eyes. I've seen that look before. Just people that are serious about what they're saying.
Knowing Lulu was dead serious, Mundo had to think fast. He came up with a plan to stop her. Mundo offered to get involved and hire the hitman himself.
I gave Lulu the impression that I was gonna reach out to a hitman, that I have the guys already ready.
Mundo convinced Lulu he believed her claims of abuse and would help her. But it was actually all a ploy to protect his friend Ramon, who he called as soon as he left the gym.
And he tells me, Lulu wants to kill you.
As shocking as the news was, Ramon says he instantly knew why.
If I died after the divorce was finalized, she was not going to get the money that I have for my retirement.
The value of the gym, the value of the home.
She had everything already figured out.
Ramon immediately contacted police, but was told nothing could be done based only on conversations with an angry wife, as threatening as they sounded.
The sheriff's department needed more. They need more evidence.
So the two old boxing buddies came up with a plan. They would launch their own sting operation.
The tape recorder I'm gonna use.
Using his street smarts, Mundo would pretend to hire a hitman. He'd send texts to this fictitious killer with details about the hit. Details he'd share with Lulu.
She needs to see that I'm going back and forth with somebody.
Ramon and Mundo bought 2 disposable cell phones. Little did Lulu know that the target, her own husband, was holding that second phone.
And the phone he's gonna use to play his own hitman.
Play his own hitman?
Yes, sir.
I started stressing because, you know, here we are, me and Mundo, doing this amateur investigation or undercover investigation. I don't know what I'm doing.
But Mundo did. He started recording his daily conversations with Lulu.
Nah, pues nomás ellos, bueno, con lo que usted ofreció, pues de perdido saben que todavía está en serio que quiere que lo maten, so todo está bien.
Sí. No, sí, definitivo. O sea, de que se lo echen. O sea, vale madre eso, ¿no? Y de que les voy a pagar.
As the days passed, both men worried Lulu might have
another hitman waiting in the wings.
My thing was, what if her patience runs out? You know, Ramon ends up dead. Or what if her patience runs out and I end up dead?
Ramon told no one about what he and Mundo were up to. And living in fear over what Lulu might be up to took its toll. He started carrying a gun.
I'd be at a stoplight and you know, I would put the gun in between my legs, you know, looking left and right the whole time at a light.
Ramon could not even escape his fear at night.
And you're in bed, where's the gun?
I used to underneath my pillow, loaded.
So Mundo kept the pretend negotiations on track.
We used that phone.
Acting as the middleman between the fake hitman and Lulu.
She's like, well, tell him I'm offering the white truck. Tell him I'm offering them jewelry. Tell him I'm offering them, you know, this much money.
All this time, Ramon and Lulu were still living under the same roof.
On June 9th, 2015,
before Mundo overheard Lulu's threat, police had been called to the Sosa house. Lulu's attorney says there was an argument between Lulu's son and Ramon over a truck, which Lulu's son recorded on his cell phone.
Whose vehicle is this? This is my vehicle. I have the legal documents on the right, which I need today. Please don't take my vehicle.
Ramon went to take the vehicle away from Lulu's son, and when Lulu's son basically told him, no, you're not gonna take my vehicle.
Please step out of my car.
Ramon punched him on his face.
Ramon, please step out of my car.
Ramon was issued a citation for assault, but he says his hand only made contact with the phone.
I'm an ex-professional fighter. If I would have hit that kid, believe me, he would not be standing up right now.
Ramon, please step out of my car.
I didn't put my hand on that kid.
On June 30th, Ramon and Lulu faced off in court. Lulu wanted a restraining order against him.
Her attorney wrote up the orders that I was abusive, that I hit her son, that they fear for their lives, living with me, staying in my house.
Ramon was ordered to move out of their home and stay away from the Woodlands gym. But he also got an order restraining Lulu from the first gym he owned, the one he'd opened before meeting her. Ramon says he kept his eye on the bigger prize, exposing Lulu's plot against him.
She thought she had me on the ropes, about to knock me out. In boxing, that's called an 8 count. I took an 8 count. I got kicked out of my own house.
But the boxer was about to make a comeback. 10 days after launching their sting, Ramon, posing as Paco, the fake hitman, texts Mundo. He's gotten a 9mm gun costing $200.
When Mundo received the down payment for the gun to have me killed from Lulu, that's when I said, you know what, I think we have enough. Let's take this to the police now.
I got a call on a Sunday.
Lieutenant Mike Atkins works for the Precinct 3 Constable's Office in Montgomery County, Texas.
We had an individual claiming that there was a murder for hire against him.
How unusual was that?
It's extremely unusual. It's the first one of my career.
Impressed with the amateur sting, the professionals were now ready to take over. But they needed a streetwise rookie in their corner, Mundo.
I was afraid, sir, that they might get that person to actually do the job.
They might go with. It was important that we not change the investigation. We not change or move Mundo out of the situation because that might bring alarms.
Mundo kept stringing Lulu along, assuring her he was trying to get things done as soon as possible. Finally, he let her know everything is a go for a meeting on July 20th with the hitman, who was really an undercover agent.
He looked like he could be a bad guy in a movie. I said, hey, this is the man that's supposed to kill you.
Lulu agreed to a night meeting in this parking lot not far from the gym. She brought several watches and some jewelry as a down payment. Lulu then went to an ATM machine and withdrew $500, which she brought back here to seal the deal.
When someone in a murder for hire case actually pays some money, have they crossed a threshold?
They have. It shows the level of intent. It shows the fact that they are serious, and it's come to a point where you can't turn back.
Police had enough to arrest Lulu right there and then, but they had concerns, namely Lulu's claims of Ramon's abuse.
Lulu has never had any problems with the law. She's a beautiful lady, mother. We don't want to go to a jury trial and have one of the jurors feel sorry for her.
And so police told Ramon what they needed to do next.
We're planning to take a picture of you dead.
See more of Ramon and Mundo handing over their amateur investigation to police at 48hours.com.
For Ramon, the police sting to bring down Lulu seemed to be taking a cue from Witchcraft, the first song they ever danced to. One of the lyrics, "You want to send me to my cold tomb."
Yeah, we're gonna take a picture of you dead, like in a grave, and we're gonna show it to her to show proof that the hitman did the job.
He was kind of dumbstruck, but then as it was explained to him, he was well on board.
In order to get Ramon camera ready,
It is a bullet wound.
police first had to consult some experts.
Being a bunch of middle-aged men, we're not exactly versed on applying makeup. So naturally, we went to YouTube and learned how to apply makeup from teenage girls.
But they also had some deadly examples to follow.
Luckily, we had no shortage of crime scene photos to use as references.
The assistant DA was there, and he brought out some pictures of actual dead people. People with bullet holes to the head. They picked up the one that they thought that was going to be the best one. And I looked.
And they showed you that picture?
Yeah, I was horrified.
Next, they had to find Ramon a grave.
We're heading to what we refer to as the dig site. Luckily for us, the county owned a right-of-way that would give us the privacy we needed.
What was going through your mind?
Well, I really didn't know what it was going to look like. I was at this point already. I mean, I already had the makeup. They already started with the bullet hole.
The final touch: fake blood.
And they told me once we got to the site, they were going to put more blood on me.
This is it. Ramon's final resting place.
So, where were you lying in this grave?
My head was there in that corner right there, and I was
right over there.
Yeah, it looked like I had my hands tied behind my back. They even threw dirt on my head. It looked like a movie scene, honestly.
Was it emotional for you to be in here?
Yeah, it was very emotional. It was hot. It was scary. It was just a feeling of thoughts of, I can't believe this, what I'm doing. I cannot believe what I'm doing. This is what Lulu wanted, right here. This is what she wanted.
Now it's time to show Lulu that this is done and it's time to get paid.
So a second meeting was arranged between Lulu and the hitman in this same parking lot. But this time, it was all caught on camera.
Pues, de guapa.
It's July 22nd, 2015.
Nada, ya estuvo. ¿Todo bien? Sí. Ya nos agarramos ahora en la mañana.
¿En dónde fue acá?
Saliendo de los apartamentos.
¿De los apartamentos?
Yendo para el trabajo.
Lulu then pays him.
Tengo 1,000.
Lulu is shown the photo of Ramon dead in a grave.
¿Peleó?
¿Peleó?
Peleó.
She starts laughing.
No shock at all?
No shock.
What does that tell you about Lulu?
She's a pretty cold character.
The undercover detective and Lulu discuss the remaining payment, all told $3,000 in cash, watches, and jewelry, and Ramon's white pickup. Then Lulu is given more details of her husband's final moments.
Preguntaba que qué onda, qué pedo, que no lo matáramos, que no. ¿Por qué le hacíamos esto?
Por pegarme.
Lulu maintains she was the victim here.
¿Te golpeaba?
Sí. Desgraciado.
The reality of Ramon's death continues to sink in, and Lulu's mood appears to lift.
No se levanta ya.
She was happy. She even made a comment to the hitman. She asked him if he was dead, if I was not going to get up.
Like a joke.
Yeah, she wanted to make sure that I was dead. She made gestures with her hand like, racing the roof.
Little did Lulu know that her roof was about to come crashing down. The next morning, police come to the gym, and it's not for a workout.
We want to come in and say, hey, we're inquiring about your husband that's been missing, and we want to get her reaction.
Wearing body cameras.
Hey, de Sosa, ¿habla inglés? Okay, Detective Martinez with the constable's office.
Police make it seem like they're stopping in to do a wellness check on Ramon.
Is there somewhere we can talk in private? Sure. Apparently, Mr. Sosa hasn't been to work today.
Lulu claims she has no idea where Ramon might be.
I haven't seen him. I'm going to talk to him. We're going through divorce.
When's the last time you saw Mr. Sosa?
We saw him on Wednesday 15th, the last day.
Lulu seems pretty relaxed.
She does. She knows that sooner or later, the police are going to come, either to say he's missing or they found his body.
Remember, the night before she had seen his picture, she was all happy. She was all giggles and happy that to see me dead. And now she was acting concerned in front of the cops.
So he hasn't contacted you in the last 24 hours?
No. She hung up.
Police let Lulu's performance go on a few minutes longer, then lower the boom.
Okay, Miss Sosa, stand up, please. You're under arrest. Okay, you're under arrest.
Why?
Prior to her interview, Lulu is read her rights and refuses to speak without a lawyer. Lulu is charged with solicitation of capital murder. It's an injustice, says her divorce lawyer, Julio Joglar.
I think that Ramon Sosa is someone that was very violent to his wife. And I think that the constant hammering, the constant violence, the constant behavior towards his wife made his wife fear him. I believe that that's what forced her at the end to make a decision that otherwise she would have never made.
The question now, will a jury believe Lulu's claims of abuse?
Here lies Ramon Sosa, right?
Yes, sir. This is like a scene from a movie where they kill these guys and just, you know, and just dig up a hole anywhere and put them away. Very scary.
For 3 days, Ramon had to play the part of a dead man.
And nobody knew where I was. Even my family, everybody was looking for me. I was very, very upset. Rage and sadness, all the emotions came through me.
Okay, Miss Sosa, stand up, please. You're under arrest. Okay, you're under arrest.
Why?
Okay.
Following Lulu's arrest on July 23, 2015, Ramon faced the unimaginable task of telling his children that their stepmother had tried to kill him.
I had just got off of a shift from working at a comedy club, and it was late. You know, I didn't expect my brother to be sitting on my bed. You can just feel something was wrong.
Mia's brother handed her the phone. Her father was on the line.
And he says, very low, Mia, I'm okay. And I said, what are you talking about? And he says, I'm okay, I'm somewhere safe, but Lulu tried to have someone kill me.
That's
okay.
And at this point, I mean, you don't hear anything. I didn't know what to do with myself except cry. I remember sliding on the back of the wall down to the ground and huddled into my knees, crying my eyes out.
Now, Ramon had a new fight on his hands, defending his reputation.
That was what hurt me so much. She had so many people believe all this stuff, that I had put my hands on her, that I was an alcoholic, that I hit her son. It's how psycho this person was.
Still, would Lulu use these allegations as part of her own defense?
Give me a sense, how strong now is your case against Lulu Sosa?
We think it was a very strong case. We had our video, we had a down payment, we had a confirmation to her that the murder had taken place.
So you've got her.
We got her.
As Lulu awaited trial, that assault charge against Ramon
Please step out of my car.
was dismissed. And Lulu agreed to a divorce settlement that handed Ramon the gym and the house.
She gave it all up.
After 15 months in jail, awaiting trial on the murder for hire charges, Lulu gave up the fight. In October 2016, as Ramon looked on, she pleaded guilty to a reduced charge of second-degree solicitation of murder, avoiding trial and a possible life sentence.
She came here with an American dream, and she got her American dream quick. And to lose everything the way she did, it's sad.
Lulu was given 20 years in prison.
Is 20 years enough?
I don't think so, but I'm happy that it's over with. I'll take it.
I was just shocked that trying to hire somebody to kill her husband, that's really all she got was 20 years.
Personally, because that's my father, I want you away forever. I don't want you to come out.
Not everyone agrees.
Was that justice, in your opinion?
My opinion, no.
Lulu's divorce attorney, Julio Joglar.
Because?
Because nobody got to hear her side. Many times I saw her crying. I felt her desperation.
Ramon says the ordeal has left scars.
Are you haunted by this?
I'll never be the same person ever again. I call my kids as much as possible. Might be the last day I say that I love them.
Ramon's near-death experience has changed him.
They love our family.
Mia is now back in Texas, having patched up their relationship after Lulu drove them apart.
It's been a really good outcome for me and for him. You're gonna get knocked out sometimes. You're gonna get up, take the loss, and you're gonna try harder and get a win.
Now, Ramon is a sought-after speaker, telling his incredible story of survival. He shared that journey to an appreciative audience in London.
Thank you, London. I'm alive.
The man who Lulu thought would help kill her husband is now an author. Mundo has written a book about his experience.
If Lulu is watching this broadcast, is there anything you would want to say to her?
Redeem yourself. You don't have to be what everybody tells you you are, you know. Everybody's telling me I was something else. Prove everybody wrong, so you could do the same.
Today, Ramon wears a precious reminder of how his time on Earth almost ran out.
Tell me about the watch that's on your left wrist there.
She told Mundo that when they kill me, to make sure to take my watch. That's what I wear all the time now.
I think she ended up picking the wrong man to victimize, don't you?
Yeah. It's the last minute of the last round. She had me on the ropes, and she had no idea that the whole time I had her plan too.
Lulu Sosa comes up for parole once a year. Her next hearing is scheduled for later this month. Ramon Sosa published his story in a book called I Walked on My Own Grave. Lulu's arrest captured on police body cameras, now online on Facebook at 48 Hours. Crime, suspense, suspicion. A second night of 48 Hours. Wednesday.
Joe Exotic is this wild, cartoonish, large animal owner.
His sworn enemy.
It's Carol, the big cat rescue. Carol's second husband, Don Lewis, disappeared and he just vanished.
For the first time on TV, a new witness.
You guys had a large freezer that had a padlock on it.
48 Hours, Suspicion. Wednesday at 10, 9 Central on CBS.
The one thing I've learned in this job is that anything is possible. People will do anything. And if you have $80,000 to throw around, you can absolutely find someone in Los Angeles County to kill your wife. This story is definitely ripe for a made-for-TV movie where you have the ex-model turned housewife with a millionaire husband who is cheating on his wife and tries to hire a hitman because he's not winning his divorce. Monica Olson used to be a model, and she ran her own skincare company. Gino Guglielmelli was a successful businessman in Los Angeles. He was the lead singer of a rock band, but he would pay to have the rock band play at the House of Blues. And he would tell his employees that they were required to go to his shows. Monica and Dino, they were married for about 7 years, and it looked to be a pretty happy marriage. They had 2 really beautiful children. What Monica didn't know was that there wasn't a time that he wasn't cheating on her.
She was in love with this man.
Yeah.
And had no clue
what
was going on behind her back.
Dino wanted too much. He wanted the hot model wife and his kids, but then he also wanted everything on the side. And I think he wanted Monica to be a certain person or to just follow whatever he said and do whatever he wanted her to do and control her, but he couldn't do that. Someone like Mr. Guglielmelli, when they don't get their way, will do whatever they need to do, legal or illegal, to get their way. And ultimately, he decided that he wanted to end it not through the legal proceedings, but he wanted to kill his wife. And he wasn't gonna do it himself. He was gonna get somebody else to do it.
He wanted her dead. He didn't care how it was done. Beat her up, cut her head off, put her in a ditch. My name is Richard Furman, and Dino Guglielmelli hired me to murder his wife.
I'm Troy Roberts. Tonight on 48 Hours, the millionaire, the model, and the hitman. Tonight's 48 Hours, appropriately set in Los Angeles, is a twisted tale of greed and murder that at times may seem like a Hollywood blockbuster. Like any good thriller, it's 1 part romance, 2 parts Hitchcock. But in the end, it's all true.
It wasn't a joke to him. It was very serious. Get it over with, be bloody, be bad about it, and end it.
Meet Rick Furman. In 2012, millionaire Dino Guglielmelli asked him to kill the mother of his children. Did you ever say, how would the children feel if they lost their mother?
More than once.
And what did he say?
He would say, they'll be much better off without her. I will find them a good mother, and I'll even have you check her out first to make sure she's great and get your approval.
Just 9 years earlier, this horror story was a love story. Monica Olson, a small-town girl from Canada, made it big as a New York fashion model, and then moved to Los Angeles to try her hand at acting.
Monica was working very hard towards it, being successful in modeling and acting.
Monica's close friend, Olya Banar.
She was beautiful. I mean, she's very photogenic. If this whole thing wouldn't happen, we would see her on the big screens by now, definitely.
Olya says Monica wasn't in Los Angeles for very long before she was swept off her feet by Dino, a charming farm boy from a big family in Walla Walla, Washington.
We all grew up in the same house where my parents live currently.
Emilio Guglielmelli says his brother Dino's first love was music.
He's always been a musician, very, very interested in music.
Dino dropped out of college and moved to Los Angeles to be a rock star. But that's not how he would make his fortune. Living in the land of health and fitness, Dino saw a need and capitalized on it. He started making and distributing vitamins and other dietary supplements.
There's nobody in the world doesn't want to live longer, and so he parlayed that into a great business.
Dino would eventually build the hugely successful multi-level supplement and skincare company, Creations Garden.
Dino was a young, successful man with a lot of money and a lot of power, and when he met Monica, he wanted her, and he knew how to get her.
6 months after they met, Dino flew Monica to Italy and proposed.
It sounds like a fairy tale in the beginning because he proposed to her in Venice. I mean, there was a love at first sight. You don't hear those stories happened.
The couple was married just 3 months later, and Dino's brother, Gino Guglielmelli, attended the lavish wedding.
It was pretty fancy for me, the whole thing.
Gino says Dino's model wife seemed to complete his baby brother's transformation from farm boy to mogul.
He had a successful business. He had nice cars. I think that just added to the image.
What were your impressions of Monica?
I didn't care for her. I thought she was a gold digger and had other motives. I don't know what it was. Something about her I didn't really care for.
She wanted her lifestyle that wasn't sitting at home. You know, her lifestyle was to go to Hollywood and whatever they do in Hollywood. They had nannies, people with the girls, you know, all day long. So he's probably spent more time with them because when he'd come home from work, sometimes she wouldn't come back until later in the evening.
I think she was a great wife, and from what I saw of their life, I mean, they were perfect together.
But Gino lived with his brother and Monica for 6 months early on in their marriage and says he saw trouble from the start.
Just two people with the same kind of egos, and I think she really wanted to have a career, and I think he wanted her to be a mom.
Olya says Monica was a great wife and mother, but when she wanted more, their relationship changed, and so did Dino.
Monica was at home taking care of kids for a couple of years, and it was time for her to be more independent. I think Dino was scared of losing control of Monica, started being more aggressive, more controlling towards her.
By the time Rick Furman came into the picture, their marriage was in its final act.
I knew that he was dating all sorts of girls because he liked to brag about it.
Rick and Dina were in business together, supplying vitamins and supplements to the military. Rick had served as an enlisted man years earlier and had contacts, and says that impressed Dino.
You two became friends.
Close.
And the closer they got, the more Dino confided in Rick.
Dino told me that Monica was a very bad mother, always gone all the time, and slept around with men, women, drank too much, did drugs.
Dino filed for divorce, and Rick says he became consumed with the thought of losing half his assets and custody of his children.
Dino is, for lack of a better word, a complete control freak and a game player. He had to be one step ahead of everybody. He had to win at the end of the day.
Rick says when Dino was ordered to pay a whopping $55,000 a month in alimony, he hatched a plan to have his Canadian-born wife arrested and deported, and he turned to Rick for help.
With my military background, Dino thought I was perfect. He would like me to plant drugs in her car, follow her around and call the police when she's driving erratically to see if she can get pulled over. I had Monica's house keys, Monica's car keys, Monica's credit card statements showing me everything that she's done, every place that she's been.
Dino filed papers showing his company was in trouble, and the alimony was reduced to $25,000. But Rick says it was still too much, too late.
What was the final straw for him?
He got an email from his own attorney to him stating that he was just better off to give her the $25,000 a month and the credit card and just leave it alone. And that, to him, he just lost. His own attorney said, dude, you lost. Give it up. Just pay. It's like asking him to stop breathing. He can't do that.
So what were his instructions to you?
This has got to end. She's got to go. Get it done. If I wasn't going to do it, he was going to find somebody to do it.
Rick told Dino he would take care of Monica, and he did, just not the way Dino wanted.
Why are you still alive?
You know, I think Rick did the noble thing.
Monica Olson.
Remarkable.
And Deputy District Attorney Emily Cole.
Monica is really lucky that Mr. Guglielmelli picked the wrong guy. Otherwise, she'd be dead.
I remember the first time I saw him, he was smiling at me.
When Monica Olson married Dino Guglielmelli, she was sure he was her happily ever after.
He was persistent, he was charming.
She never dreamt their story would end so tragically.
You don't think that the person that you've created a life with can want to harm you and make you suffer.
Monica is very intelligent and has a master's degree in international finance, but she says that, like a lot of women, she was blinded by Dino's charm and the spoils of his riches.
We went out on a date and he said, you know, I have 2 plane tickets and I want to take you to Paris. Throughout our marriage, he spoiled me.
But Monica says things began to change in 2008 when she decided she wanted to go back to work and asked Dino to help her create a skincare line called Skin by Monica.
That was kind of my baby.
But Dino took charge.
Everything was kind of under his control, and I was kept out of the loop. Don't ask too many questions.
Monica says the more questions she asked, the angrier Dino became. So she worked on reigniting her modeling career, but that just made Dino furious.
There was a change in his personality.
Huge. He went dark. I mean, it was as if he was possessed.
Monica says she was never the one sleeping around and doing drugs. Dino was. And at the height of that madness, he created his heavy metal rock band. Dino dyed his hair and polished his nails black and told Monica it was all for show. But she says she became terrified of him and started documenting his behavior.
Everything that's going on, she's recording on a cell phone, which is fine. She can do that. She has every right.
When Dino started behaving really badly, Monica would record him on her cell phone.
Come on, let's go.
Let's go get your backpack. Showing these videos to everyone, saying, look, I don't know what happened to him. This is really crazy. He's behaving like a lunatic.
In this incident, Dino fired a nanny who his children loved.
You don't understand. You can't be here, Anna.
Because she was too loyal to Monica.
You can't do that, Anna. Look, it's not a choice.
After Dino filed for divorce, he had refused to move out. What Monica didn't know is that while Dino was living in the guest house, he was already planning to get rid of her by paying his friend, Rick Furman, to do it.
How did he want Monica killed?
That would depend on the day.
Rick says he tried to keep Dino happy and stall him through the divorce, hoping it would all end when there was an agreement, but things just kept escalating.
She was definitely putting him through the ringer, and he wanted her to suffer. So I came up with this idea of letting him know that she was infected with AIDS, and then just a matter of time, Dino, it'll all be over, don't worry about it. And that worked for months.
How did he react when you told him that you infected Monica with HIV virus?
How big can you smile? It's not a joke, I mean, literally, how big can you smile? Because this was pretty big.
Rick made it clear he never actually infected Monica with the virus. It was just a lie to stall Dino. But meanwhile, things at the Guglielmelli home were about to spiral out of control. It was the night of January 16th, 2012.
He was getting in my face right then and there in front of the kids. My first thing was to get the kids removed.
Monica says she rushed the children into her room and locked the door. But before she could dial 911, Dino once again beat her to it and accused her of assaulting him.
He said that she wrapped her hands around his neck and it caused scratches, and that she hit him.
Monica was arrested and Emily Cole was assigned to the case.
The story was corroborated somewhat by their daughters, so the case was filed as a misdemeanor domestic violence case.
So there was evidence that she had struck him.
There were pictures.
He showed me a picture that his daughter or one of his friends took or something of this itty-bitty little cut, and I basically said, man up. I've cut myself worth shaving.
Still, Dino was able to get a restraining order against Monica and was granted full custody of their daughters.
I'm being given a restraining order to stay away from my kids, to stay away from the house, to stay away from my business.
It all sounds too familiar to this woman.
Do you see parallels between your story and Monica's?
It's the same story almost.
Leisha Devine, Dino's ex-wife.
At any given moment, he would do anything to make me lose my kids. That was his goal.
Leisha says during their divorce, Dino accused her of doing drugs and being abusive, and then took everything, their daughter, their home, and the business they started together, Creations Garden.
The Dino I married was a caring and compassionate guy. The guy I divorced was callous, mean, calculating. The best way to describe it is Jekyll and Hyde.
Looking back in hindsight, this is exactly what he did to his second wife. He brought up domestic violence charges, and he was able to get custody of their child then. And that's exactly what it looks like he was doing with Monica.
I'll do the pink fairy, you do the...
Monica lost custody of her girls for 13 months, and then charges were finally dropped for lack of evidence. But that's when Dino pushed Rick Furman to execute the plan.
The pressure was on to kill her. 3, 5, 7, 10 times a week, phone calls at 4 a.m. in the morning. When's this gonna end? Are you sure you can get it done?
There's always problems, even in normal divorces with couples that fight over certain things, but you somehow make it work for the benefit of your children. There is no such a concept in his mind. It's all or nothing. It's the Hunger Games. It's kill or be killed.
Monica was about to find out how right she was. Rick Furman couldn't stall Dino any longer and says he's no killer. So he decided to visit Monica's divorce attorney and spill the beans.
We had quite a detailed discussion.
And you told him that
everything.
You told him everything, that Dino wanted Monica dead.
Absolutely.
How did your husband want you killed?
I mean, in a horrific way. He wanted to make it look like a drug killing, like I had been kidnapped in Mexico, and he wanted me raped, and he wanted my head cut off.
It's pretty horrific.
Monica's lawyer took Rick Furman's information to the district attorney's office, and the case of attempted murder was assigned to none other than Emily Cole.
I didn't automatically recognize the Guglielmelli name. It was his daughter's names that I recognized from the domestic violence case. That's what clicked in my head, that I'd met this guy before.
But before Cole could make an arrest, her investigators needed solid evidence.
The detective said, "Would you be willing to wear a wire?" And I said, "Sure."
On October 1st, 2013, he did just that.
You're positive
That what?
you want her dead? 100%.
Why wouldn't I?
Why wouldn't you? Good question.
On the afternoon of October 1st, 2013, Rick Furman and Dino Guglielmelli did something they'd done many times.
They were just gonna have lunch, and this is where they usually went.
Spicy mint chicken?
Let's do the penne curry beef.
But prosecutor Emily Cole made sure that this time, the tables were turned.
The detectives in this case from the Sheriff's Department Major Crimes, they were sitting here watching Dino and Furman have their lunch.
Was it nerve-wracking having that lunch?
Yeah. I was pissed. I was very angry. I literally just wanted to just grab him from off the, other side of the table and just rack his brain a little bit and go, do you understand that you've got everything? You've got the friggin' American dream and you're just an idiot?
Instead, Furman set about catching a killer on tape.
There's no going back when we get up out of this seat.
So what did Furman have to get out of Dino?
Well, first of all, he needed to give him an opportunity to say no, to back out. at all times. But he needed for Dino to understand that at the end of this conversation, by the time they walked out that door, that there was no way that Dino was going to be able to stop what he would put in motion.
I'll be happy when it's all over. That's when I'll really be happy.
We did exactly the same routine as we've done for a year. It was the same conversation. Nothing was changed. Nothing was embellished. Nothing was made up.
In a moment Rick calls typical, Dino is heard justifying his desire to have Monica killed because she lied during a deposition in the domestic violence case against her.
When she went into her deposition and lied and said that I scratched myself to set her up, and that she never touched me, and that all those scratches came from me going into the bathroom and scratching myself, and she looked me straight in the eyes and said, that's when I knew that I wanted her, that I could never ever trust her or anything came out of her mouth, and I knew then that she would do anything to hurt me.
This is a clip from the recording that was made that day at this restaurant between Dino and Mr. Furman.
I'll ask you a simple question. You're positive?
That what?
You want her dead? 100%. Are you sure the girls they're fine?
They're totally fine.
All they need is they're dead.
So this is significant because this was a clear declaration that he wanted his wife dead.
No matter the consequences, he wants her dead regardless of who it's going to hurt.
It's like a dream come true. Seriously. She's tried so hard to hurt me for so long and done so much, evil things.
3 or 4 times, I gave him the way out. Are you sure you want her dead? When I get up out of this seat, it's done, it's over. I think his words were, it's been a long time, but why wouldn't I?
Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't you? Good question.
But what are the kids gonna do for a mother? Don't worry about it. I'll find a good one.
By the time we're out at lunch, it's already done. You just need to figure out how to pay me.
Oh, I'll pay.
How much?
You already told me how much.
80,000?
That's what you told me.
Rick says that in earlier conversations about killing Monica, Dino made it clear he wanted it done while she was traveling abroad. So Rick told Dino that while they were at lunch, Monica was away on vacation in Mexico, where she would die that day.
Are you telling me it's going to be done today? Are you serious?
Yes. When I leave this room.
Rick convinced Dino that a hired assassin in Mexico would kill Monica before they had time to digest their lunch.
I don't want to know anything.
There you go. I'm not going to tell you that.
I'll read about it in the paper.
Yes, you will. Mexican paper, maybe.
Painfully aware of the sting operation, Monica was hiding out in a hotel room in Beverly Hills. That night, Dino went home to his daughters, presumably thinking their mother was dead.
The following day, the recording was brought to me. We listened to it, and then I filed the case.
Dino Guglielmelli was arrested at his home in Valencia, California, in front of his daughters and charged with attempted murder.
They saw him being arrested.
The girls were taken into protective custody, and Monica had to pick them up at the jail.
What I don't understand is why the hate, the deep-seated anger and hatred towards you.
That's a question for him.
One I would eventually get to ask him over the phone.
You have a prepaid call from, it's Dino, an inmate in Corcoran, California.
Hello, Dino.
Hi, Trey.
I just want to remind you that you are being recorded, Dino.
The only way I could ask Dino Guglielmelli why he wanted his wife Monica killed was via telephone.
My first question to you is, what mistakes did you make? What are you guilty of?
Dino is being held in this facility in Corcoran, California, which doesn't allow cameras.
Well, I would say I'm probably, I could say that I'm guilty of allowing myself to be betrayed and manipulated. I'm guilty of working too hard. I'm guilty of trusting too much.
Dino says he is the victim here. He calls Rick Furman a master con man who convinced him they could make millions selling vitamins and supplements to the military. When that con started to unravel, Dino says Rick set him up for attempted murder.
You're not taking any responsibility for this?
No.
No.
No. Ask Furman. Why did he do it? After 2 years and a manipulation on a military contract and all this stuff, why did he do that? He didn't have to. I wasn't going out trying to find somebody to knock off my wife.
He had a conversation.
Prosecutor Emily Cole confirms that Rick did indeed con Dino into thinking there was a big contract coming his way.
Rick forged Department of Defense documents to lead Mr. Guglielmelli to believe that there was some big business deal. And Mr. Furman explains that he did that in order to keep Mr. Guglielmelli happy, because a happy Dino doesn't want to kill his wife.
Is there a military contract? There's military contracts given every day. I particularly am seeking one for supplements. And I'm still working on it today. And that's really all I'll say with that.
Our investigation brought forward the information that Mr. Furman only spent a year in the military. He had a very basic military background. He was honorably discharged on injury. Rick Furman is a chameleon because he'll be whatever you want him to be.
And just like Emily Cole, we found Richard Furman hard to pin down.
Are you a hitman?
No.
Have you ever killed somebody?
Not on U.S. soil. That's it. Move on.
But you have killed someone.
Move on.
He'll say and do what he thinks you want him to do. I think Dino and Mr. Furman were very similar in that respect, and I think that's why they got along so well.
But while it was obvious that Rick Furman was a phony, the conspiracy to kill Monica was very real.
By the time we're out at lunch, it's already done. You just need to figure out how to pay me.
Oh, I'll pay.
How much?
You already told me how much.
$80,000?
That's what you told me.
I've listened to the tape, and it's very clear on the tape. You wanted your wife killed, and you were willing to pay $80,000 to make it happen.
Well, the whole money aspect had come up numerous times about him wanting money and needing money, and I've been paying him money for a long time. I don't know how much money I paid him. I think in total I paid him probably $50,000 to secure the military contract. And it was always, well, how are you going to give me the money? And where's the money going to come from? That was a question all the time. By the time the hour and a half lunch was up and he asked me those questions, I was, was it about killing somebody? I really didn't think anybody was going to be dead. I mean, I'm just answering the question. I know what the tape appears to be like, but I didn't take any of it seriously. I really didn't.
Dino claims it was Rick Furman who wanted to get rid of Monica because she was trying to sabotage his military contract.
He convinces me that Monica is calling them and trying to kill the contract. So he's like, I want to get her out of the country. I want anything I can do to get rid of her. I'm like, Richard, don't talk like that. We'll just pay her when the contract happens. No. We're not going to get the contract. Do you understand what she's doing? She's sending letters to them.
Are you saying to me, Dino, that Rick Furman was the one who proposed killing Monica?
All the time, yeah.
And you never said that?
Any of this stuff up.
No, you never said it.
The more I pressed Dino about what he said on the tape, the more he blamed Rick Furman, and the less his story made sense.
Well, on the tape, it's very clear that you understood that once the lunch with Rick was over, there was no turning back, that he was going to kill Monica.
He said that to me many times. There's no turning back once this happens. He would no turning back or we don't pay the people on the military contract, they're going to kill both of us. I mean, these were things that he used to say all the time. I didn't take any of it seriously. I mean, it was normal protocol for him to talk like that.
I don't think it's my place to go into detail because...
But we listened to the whole tape, and there is no mistaking what Dino and Rick were discussing. Even Dino's brother agrees.
Did you hear the recordings?
Yes.
Between your brother and Rick Furman?
Yes.
What did you make of it?
The recordings kind of speak for themselves, that they had a conversation about killing Monica.
Dino made it clear more than once that he wanted her dead.
Yes.
And he was willing to pay $80,000 to have it done.
Yes. Yes, he did.
Does that surprise you?
Yes, it does surprise me. And I truly believe, though, the whole situation snowballed out of control. I believe in my heart there may be, you know how guys talk, everybody gets mad, you say things and whatever. He could say, I wish she was gone. Somebody said, I can get rid of her for you if you want. The guy was a real blowhard, and I could see the situation where he'd say, oh, I can take care of that, no problem. I can do that for you, sure, go ahead.
Richard told me the whole time, I don't know Monica, but I hate her guts. What she's done to you and those children, she should be deported. She should be this, she should be that. I mean, to the depth of the deception here. I'm not lying. I'm telling you the truth. Yeah, I fell into a military contract where I was blinded by that. I just kind of ignored it because that was my focus. And that was wrong. It does show a weakness in me being greedy. I should have recognized what was going on, and I'll never forgive myself for that.
But to Emily Cole, this wasn't about a phony military contract or Rick Furman. This was a clear-cut case of murder for hire by Dino.
And you're sure the girls they're fine?
They're totally fine. All they need is their dad.
All they think is their dad.
There was just one problem. Cole's star witness was an alleged con man.
Were you concerned about putting Rick Furman on the stand?
To an extent.
Why?
He had his own credibility issues, and that was brought forward in the preliminary hearing. There were a lot of things that the defense attorney brought up that didn't make him look great.
The defense portrayed Furman as a fraud who manipulated Dino with a fictional multi-million-dollar military contract for supplements. Cole knew that would happen again if Furman was called as a witness in front of a jury.
But the case wasn't Mr. Furman, it was the tape.
But would the tape be enough to convince the jury?
You're positive.
That what?
You want her dead.
9 months after Dino Guglielmelli was caught on tape and charged with attempted murder for trying to have his wife killed, Emily Cole was preparing for trial. The evidence from the tape had the potential to send Dino away for life.
When Mr. Furman tells him that when he leaves this room, he can't change the fact that Monica's going to be killed, and Mr. Guglielmelli agrees to that, that is Mr. Guglielmelli pointing the proverbial gun at Monica.
And there's no way for them to, like, come track it back to me, right?
No, that's why I asked you about the money.
Cole had solid evidence on that tape, but she also had a big problem. Rick Furman himself. Just before trial, she decided she wasn't going to take any chances and made a stunning decision. She offered Dino a deal. Plead guilty to attempted murder in the second degree and serve only 9 years in prison.
He had never spent a day in jail previous to this incident. He didn't have a record. Mr. Guglielmelli didn't commit violence on anyone either. And I think this was a fair sentence.
I think my life is worth more than that. To me, the intent shows the criminal mind. The intention. So if I try to kill you and the bullet misses you by ½ an inch, am I less of a criminal because I don't have a good aim? Is he less of a criminal because Richard came forward.
Did you want this to go to trial?
Yes. Absolutely.
I was shocked. I remember calling, asking them, why are you offering him a plea? What I got back was, don't worry about it. He'll never take it. Don't worry about it. He's going away for life.
Why did you take the plea?
I took a plea deal because I didn't want to. As you know, I went all the way to the last second before I took the deal. But my mom, my whole family pleaded with me to take the deal. I wasn't going to. I thought a 1 to 5 chance was really worth taking the risk. And I told them all that. I didn't think a jury was going to find me guilty. But after my mom said, please just take the deal, I took the deal.
Dino is serving his time here at this state prison in Corcoran, California. He will be eligible for parole in 2021.
He will get out angry. He will get out vengeful. And he will get out thinking that the game still needs to be won.
Despite suspicions that Rick Furman is a con man, he has not been charged with any crime. His biggest fear is when Dino is released.
That's what's scary for me. There isn't any doubt in my mind that my life would be in danger.
And Monica fears for her safety as well.
I know that my husband's very resourceful. He may have asked Rick, but he could have asked many other people too. He had a lot more than $80,000 at his disposal to have me killed.
So do you believe money will be waiting for him when he's released?
If he has control over it from prison, then absolutely he will have access to several millions.
Dino's brother Gino insists there is no money left.
She claims that there's $4.5 million overseas. Okay? Go find it. His second wife, oh, there's $20 million overseas. Go find it. How come nobody's finding it? Seriously, where is it? Honestly, the guy is in prison. Can't somebody go get it?
Do you have any sympathy for Monica?
No, I think she pretty much brings on all of her misfortune herself. But I didn't like her before, so I'm certainly not going to like her now.
What if your brother was actually associating with a real hitman? Monica could be dead today.
I guess by the tape, it's probably true. But I believe that my brother in his business world probably knew more capable people if you wanted something like that done than Richard Furman. That's why I think it was just something said between two guys that spiraled out of control.
Does Monica have any reason to fear for her safety after you are released from prison?
Of course not. I want to take care of my kids. I want to pay child support. I want to be a good providing citizen and a good providing father.
But Dino might have a hard time with that. Monica is proceeding with the divorce, fighting for the house, whatever money is left, and she has full custody of their daughters.
How do you explain something like this? And how do you make them adjust to a new life, knowing that their father's alive, knowing that their father, is in prison?
Do they know why he's in prison?
Yes, they saw him being arrested. So they were very present that morning. Vendela, my youngest, she said, Mommy, God gave Daddy a timeout.
But Dino still claims he is the victim.
I've been criminalized, Troy, which has just destroyed my life. And I don't get it. I don't understand why everyone wants to attack me. And this guy set me up.
Monica is lucky because in the end, Rick Furman is not a killer. He's someone that might bend the truth or omit the truth, but he's not a killer. And that's what saved Monica.
Monica's main concern now is her children.
I know his intention is to reunite himself with the kids and take those children away from me. I know that that's...
Is that one of your greatest fears?
Do I think about it? Yes. Am I going to live in fear every day? No. I'm not going to allow this man to do this to me. No. I intend on really making something of my experience and not shying away from what happened, because I think that if somebody can look at my life and what I've been through and learn from it, then I've done something right.
Anything else you want to say?
You have 30 seconds remaining.
You know, it's 15 minutes of fame has turned into 30 seconds of fame.